The Rare Genomes Project is a research study being launched by the Broad Institute of MIT and Harvard. It's run by Daniel MacArthur and Heidi Ream, and I'm the program lead. And so what we do is we've set up a research site, one single research site at the Broad, and we are recruiting families online through a website called raregenomes.org. And so the basic idea is that rare and genetically undiagnosed families living anywhere in the US can visit our website and they can learn more about our study, and then they can fill out a 10-minute survey and apply online. And what happens after that is they tell us a little bit about their condition, and then we receive the information back on our end, and we consent the families online. We make sure that they understand everything about participation in the study. Then we can mail them sample collection kits here. And these are blood collection kits, and we partner with Quest Diagnostics. So families can take these kits directly to Quest Diagnostics, and they can have their blood drawn at no cost. The samples come back to us at Broad. We extract DNA, and we do whole genome or whole exome sequencing. And then the goal is to actually analyze that data through analysis systems built internally at the Broad by our lab to analyze their data, hopefully find a genetic diagnosis, share the data without delay for publication as broadly as possible to benefit as many patients as we can, and then to return results back to families and hopefully provide them with a genetic diagnosis. Our preference is for blood samples because, as you can imagine, we do have the option for saliva samples if there are any families, that want to participate in the study, but they're limited, by their condition or their ability to have a blood draw. Then we do have saliva kits as well that we can send to families. But the problem is that there's so much bacteria in people's mouths, and so when we receive the samples here, sometimes they're highly contaminated and the data quality is not as high with saliva samples. So we try for blood because, especially with whole genome sequencing, it tends to, the data tends to be of much higher quality and better for analysis. I think there's multiple ways for families to be involved in the project. So one of our goals since we kind of created this project was to have families involved every step of the way. So even before a family signs up for the project, as you can see from visiting our website here, all the families that are featured on our site are actually have been actively engaged in the project in one way or another. So sometimes they're enrolled in the study, or sometimes they are just like active contributors to how we should design the study. So we partner with a rare disease photographer, Aware of Angels, and they've kindly contributed all of these photos to us. So even without being a part of the study, families can know that they can visit our website and they can give us suggestions. So they can say, like, okay, I read your data sharing site and the data sharing section of your website, and maybe you could explain this a little differently, or that didn't make sense, or or that's really great. I already have a genetic diagnosis, but how can I maybe I'm not eligible for your study, but how can I contribute? So there's multiple ways for families to be involved in that capacity. But in terms of families that actually, are participating and what they get back, so again, I think there's multiple avenues. So some families that participate in the project will actually receive a genetic diagnosis from us. And what that would involve is, sequencing their DNA, and then our group would find a genetic diagnosis that we think is causing their family's condition, and we would return that information to the family and their local doctor and make sure that it's facilitated in a way that provides downstream care for the family. And then in terms of other contributions that or other ways that people can feel like they've participated even if they don't get a genetic diagnosis, because everybody knows that just because you are sequenced is not a guarantee to get a diagnosis. So most families are just happy to know that they're contributing to science and that we're making it as easy as possible for them to do so. So if you think about how hard it is usually for families to sign up for a research study, there's a very top-down model that goes on right now. So most people only know about research studies if their doctor has told them about it. It's incredibly hard to find out what the details are. It's incredibly hard to actually understand what people are going to do with your data, and one of our goals is to make it as transparent for families as possible, let them know exactly what we're going to do with their data every step of the way, and also to make it as easy as possible for them to sign up. So theoretically, a participant does not have to leave their house in order to participate in the Rare Genomes project. And that's incredibly important because maybe there's only 2 families in the US with the same condition, and if we only had 1 research site here in Cambridge, how could they both participate? So, that would require flying them out, and these families are extremely burdened by regular life. So if we can make it as easy as possible for people to donate their data and learn about their own condition, we think we can make a huge contribution.